Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. You know what, it's a joke, enough is enough, and it's time we spoke about this. There is a huge injury crisis in football, specifically in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola was speaking about it last night, and it needs to be spoken about because I feel like football fans are just walking along blindly ignorant to the fact that you will suffer with this and that players and teams are suffering with it. We're only 5 games in to the Premier League season, and clubs like Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City, and others will follow very, very quickly, are dealing with major injury crises already that wouldn't normally happening. And we know why it's happening. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger with Manscaped. Play your players too much to make your squad look thinner with the Premier League. So we'll be getting into that because I think we all know what the root cause is. And what are we going to do about it? Because we're all happy to protest about the Super League because it's very obvious. There is a subtle damage to football that is destroying and diluting the quality. And we're going to get into that. But before we do, a little bit of a hint. We've obviously got the beard hedger here in my hand. It basically is fantastic. You know, like a Formula One car can fill itself up with petrol in seconds. Well, this is the beard trimmer that can trim your face in seconds. It's the quickest one I've ever had. It's the most powerful one I've ever had. It's absolutely incredible. It's got loads of adjustable lengths on it. If you are somebody that likes a bit of stubble like me, or you just want to trim your beard, then this is the thing to get from Manscaped. You can get 20% off with the code FOOTY. It's literally the most powerful and best beard trimmer I've ever had. It's absolutely incredible. The beard hedger, they call it. Of course, with Manscaped, you can still get the old favourites, the classics. You can get the one that goes down there, the hedge trimmer, which is trim your, basically trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. It's all around your balls. And also they've got the weed whacker for up the nose. Fantastic products delivered to your door for free with the code FOOTY, and 20% off as well with that code. Links in the description or scan that QR code next to me. Massive shout out to Manscaped. Fantastic quality products. I tell you what's not a fantastically quality product at the moment, the Premier League. They are diluting it and they are going to damage the quality of it because how is Man United the best Man United you can watch when you've got the, Varane, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire's injured now? I mean, some might say that's a good thing, but ultimately it's still a first team player on a lot of money. Mount's been injured, Højlund's been injured, Amrabat's been injured. There are so many injuries at Manchester United. Manchester City, Stones I think has been injured all season. Bernardo Silva's injured now. De Bruyne is injured. Grealish is injured. Kovacic is injured. Don't get me started on Chelsea. I know they've got about 50 players, but they've got about 14 injured. Arsenal, Partey, Timber, Martinelli. You're going to get injuries. I'm not going to say that no club never has injuries, but the sheer volume of them in the first few weeks of a Premier League season is extraordinary. It's incredibly ridiculous. And a lot of these injuries are muscle injuries. Now, some might say, well, it's the modern footballer not being, not stretching out, not, doing the right exercises, etc. What a load of crap. We've never had so much money being spent on sports science in football. This is fatigue. It's volume of games. It's common sense. You speak to anybody that's played the game or is a physio or anything like that, and you say to them, what's the chances of a player getting... If a player plays once a week for 90 minutes, are they less likely to get injured than a player that plays 3 times a week and we're adding 20 minutes onto the 90 every game? And they're going to say, are you having a laugh? You're an idiot. Like, they will get injured. They're going to get injured a lot more. And it's not just the fact that they've played 3 games in a week that's going to get them injured. It's the fact that they're doing that over a period of 8, 9, 10 months with very little rest. You're basically, basically what you're doing is, instead of doing it once a day and enjoying it, you're doing it 10 times a day, you're going to get a bit sore. And that is what's happening with footballers. They're doing it. I don't know what you lot think I'm talking about there, by the way. I was talking, anything that you do repetitively for a longer period of time is going to lead to a higher risk of fatigue and injury and tiredness. And it's not just injury as well, it's mental and physical tiredness for these players. Oh, I'm playing again, I've got to play another 110 minutes. We're adding these minutes on and people enjoy it. Spurs enjoyed it at the weekend because they beat Sheffield United into added time, and quite rightly there was added time because Sheffield United did make a lot of stoppages. But it's not the way to deal with the problem. you are going to dilute the quality of football. Football fans want to go to the game and see their favourite player play. They don't want to see Kevin De Bruyne injured for 2 months, and they don't want to see Kevin De Bruyne tired in the last 20 minutes because he's played 6 games in 2 weeks. We are increasing the games. I spoke about it on the podcast. Give it a listen. The new Champions League format will make you cry. I'm not going to go on it here because it's on the podcast. Links in the description. Give it a listen. But effectively, we're going from 6 group games to 8. They're going to play more games. We've got a World Club Cup coming up in 2025 in the summer. More games. It's all about more games, and then you've got longer games because they're adding time on. It's absolutely unsustainable. And we are the gullible goldfish that go, I'll buy the kit, I'll buy the subscription, I'll turn up, but we are going to get a lesser quality product. We're getting more of it, but less quality because players are more tired or they're actually absent through injury. Less is more. The NFL does it so well. They play 1 game a week. I mean, I'd like to see the NFL, American football, played a little bit longer because they only play really between September and January. They play 1 game a week because it's a very impactful and very strenuous sport. So they only do it for a short period of time and they only play once a week. Football, we do it basically for 11 months every year. And for a lot of those 11 months, if you're in the top teams, you'll play 3 times a week. It's completely and utterly unsustainable. I don't know what we do as fans. I don't even know if you're bothered. But I'm telling you what, you're going to see a big problem coming up. I've never known so many injuries at the start of a season. It's incredible. Look, Man United have been hit hard, but other clubs will be hit hard as well. It's not exclusive to Manchester United. I think Man United's problem is that last season we didn't have a very big squad. We went to the final of 2 domestic tournaments. We had a World Cup in the middle, which meant that there was a fixture backlog. The Queen died. I'm not blaming her. There was some fixture. It was just ridiculous, the amount of games. Man United basically from January to I think it was the end of May. I think we played 3 times a week, nearly every week. Incredible. And then they've had off to internationals because a lot of them are internationals, on tour in America. Start the season. You're meant to start the season fresh, aren't you? You know, mentally and physically. And United have started the season with people having muscle injuries and strains. It's incredible, and it's happening at other clubs as well. It's absolutely obvious what the problem is, and I'm sure the powers bit that be need calling out. Like the players. I mean, you know, I'm not talking about a revolution here, but the players and the managers, it shouldn't be us. It shouldn't be the fans. I'm happy to talk about it and promote it, but it's the players and the managers. They should be thinking about striking here. Like, they really should. Like, they are damaging and risking. I mean, look, I don't want to get too serious here as well. We have seen some really horrific things happen on a football pitch over the last 30 years. I'm talking about injury here. You know, the game's getting quicker. It's more intense. I mean, I'm not going to go down that road because I don't have the medical knowledge, but surely it stands to reason that if you're asking a top athlete to play full pelt 3 times a week after week, month after month, then there has to be, you know, serious implications for that potentially for some people. So I just don't think they're being protected. And look, footballers, some of them live in a bubble. They've got people around them saying, you know, money, it's all about the money. But they actually need to have people around them saying, it's about your career. You know, if you're a footballer and you're playing loads of football and you get a bad injury that keeps you out for a year and then you don't get a contract and then you end up going down the leagues, the money you could have earned if you were looked after and protected and you know, shielded from these fatigue injuries is way more than, you know, let's keep at it. Let's keep our foot down on the pedal. And ultimately as well, why are we doing this? There might be some fans out there that love the fact that you sit through a 90-minute game and you get another 20 minutes added on. I personally think it's not good for the game. And I think that players are starting to mentally become, you know, almost blasé in the last 20 minutes because they know there's going to be another 10 minutes added on. But I think the vast majority of this is down to money. It's the people who don't play the game who want to make money out of the game, whether it's sponsors, the organisations themselves. It's basically the Super League has caused all of this. They got terrified by the Super League, so they thought, well, what was the Super League about? It's all about money. Let's get more games, let's make more money, and then we can keep the Super League at bay. More excitement, more games, keep the fans on their toes. But I'm not on my. I tell you what, Man United recently, last 2 or 3 games, I'm like, we've got to pick Scott McTominay. I never say those words, but I'm like, there literally isn't anybody else in our midfield. Amrabat's injured, Mount's injured, Mainoo's injured. Obviously, Fred's not there anymore. Ericsson isn't really a midfielder. Casemiro looks knackered. So I'm like, we've got to play McTominay because we haven't got anybody else, and it's only game 5. You want to put your best team out. There's nothing more demoralising than when you're playing a team that's got everybody pretty much fit and you've got an injury crisis and you're like, it's not real, is it? You know, you get beat 4 or 5-0, but it's not real. It's not your best team against their best team. And I know that never normally happens, but normally both teams have got 1 or 2 injuries. But at the moment, the volume is ridiculous. And I don't think surely it's only going to get worse. It's not like they're suddenly going to get 2 weeks in the Bahamas. They're going to be, more international breaks, more games, 3 games a week, Carabao Cup, Premier League. Something needs to give. And I, for one, when the players and the managers actually get together and start doing something about it, I will be there cheering it on, because I think I would rather see Man United play, I'd rather see us play once a week and everybody be fit and raring to go than see us playing twice a week, to be honest. Now, that doesn't need to happen, but what does need to be happening is there needs to be more intelligence around the player's body, i.e., is it sustainable to have a World Cup in November, a backlog of games then from January till May, then they go on international duty, have a couple of weeks off, then they go into America playing games, then they come back, then they start another season where they're playing 3 games a week and an international break. There needs to be a lot more done around player welfare, because at the moment, I think enough is enough. Get your comments in below. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FOOTY. Fantastic products. And give the podcast a listen, because it goes into the Champions League and it will absolutely amaze you what they're going to do with the Champions League, and it's all for money. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care. Don't forget Man United against Bayern Munich tonight on the United Stand.